Hey everyone, I finished watching all of Power Rangers RPM, and after RPM, I had to make a decision. What do I want to do next? Do I want to move on to Samurai, or do I want to cover that weird thing in the middle of RPM and Samurai that people tend to forget about? And I figured I'll talk about that because I feel nostalgic. I want to go back and talk about that. So, first up, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2010 Reversion Series, Episode 1, Day of the Dumpster. In 2010, Disney opted not to produce a new Sentai adaptation, but contractual obligations forced them to produce something. In the past, I've compared the 2010 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers reversion to the special edition Star Wars releases. Actually, I'd say it's closer to the Transformers Generation 2 reruns, where the show was reran but with bizarre transition effects. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2010 is similar to that, as very little narrative is being altered and more just the presentation. Day of the Dumpster received relatively few alterations. Image quality has been cleaned up, the theme is the same, but with very different accompanying visuals. The opening credits are moved around. The pop art, comic-style filters pop up seemingly at random moments. Rita and the bad guys each get their own little cards to introduce them. This is ironically more of a thing Sentai regularly does. Some scenes are significantly more glowy than I remembered. One thing that always stood out to me in this version of the episode was Kimberly's scream being cut when she's first grabbed by the putties. Confusingly, her getting grabbed leads into a commercial bumper of her as the Pink Ranger surrounded by scenes of her in battle. If I wasn't familiar with the original episode, would I have thought this was her actually morphing and fighting the putties? A particularly bizarre effect comes when Goldar summons the putties. For some reason, the scene is accompanied by dark clouds and rain. Bizarre, because it's not cloudy or raining in the rest of the scene. At the end, credits play over the final scene, just like RPM's credits. Thanks to an interview with Dan Evans, a producer on the MMPR reversion from GreenRanger.com, we know a little bit about why this show came to be and what the logic was behind it. According to Evans, the comic aesthetic was already decided on by higher-up executives. I always wondered why, if Disney wanted something with comic influence, why not just re-air Beetleborgs? That show already had transitions and effects similar to this, and they even went more all in on it. The answer is most likely Toei or Bandai. They wanted a new Power Rangers show, not Beetleborgs. Also, a factor in Disney's decision may have been their current programming. I was able to watch a recorded from TV version of Day of the Dumpster from 2010, and once the commercials played, it was all clear to me. Commercial after commercial advertised absolutely god-awful tween high school sitcoms. The humor, the acting, the production value, all of it was utterly horrible. I imagine to any kid that was actually into these shows, Power Rangers was quite the odd one out. Talented direction, impressive stunt work, special effects of all kinds. This was most certainly not typical of Disney's live-action productions at the time. Why go nearly 2 decades backwards for a new show? Frankly, quality didn't matter. My guess is that they looked at MMPR, saw it was set in a high school, and had cringy humor. Yep, that checks off all the boxes. There's other seasons that are far more polished and well put together, seasons that would probably have more appeal to a modern audience, but they just wanted something quick and accessible. Despite apparently little thought being put into this new season, advertisers apparently thought it needed something to legitimize why an old show was being treated as new. In some ABC Kids ads, a bizarre backstory was thought out. An evil Rita exists in the present somehow, and she opens a wormhole to the past so she could make another attempt at defeating the Rangers. I'm not sure why she tries the exact same plans again, but whatever, someone tried. This backstory makes me wonder, what happened to Mystic Mother? Did she turn evil for some reason? That may have been an interesting way to handle this, but Disney wasn't going to put in more effort than they needed to. If there were some kind of newly constructed framing device for the Reversion series, would that make it the biggest clip show ever? The Reversion series lasted 32 episodes, the same as the past bunch of Disney Power Rangers seasons. My guess is that this choice was made out of sheer convenience. From Mystic Force to RPM, 32 episodes was the norm. It's what the networks were used to at the time, and they weren't trying to shake things up. They were trying to coast on the bare minimum. Back when this season was airing, I was in high school. Occasionally, we had classes where we'd go to the elementary school and assist the kids there with various projects. A couple kids I was assigned to work with started talking about TV shows and Power Rangers. Specifically, they talked about Mighty Morphin. I was surprised. I would have expected them to only know the latest seasons. I figured maybe they'd been watching reruns. As far as I knew, Generations or Best of marathons and reruns were still a thing. Later, I saw ads in Toy Fair magazine for MMPR toys. I figured it was just an extension of the Super Legends toys, but I went to Kmart and was shocked to see the whole team, plus Alpha 5, Goldar, and a Putty. I wasn't following the show closely back then and just assumed the MMPR toys were a secondary line. Eventually, I figured out everything that was going on, and I saw some of the Reversion series. I wasn't a fan. I've always disliked alterations being made to existing art. Even when the alterations could be considered an improvement, I'm still usually not big on the idea. Soon, Shout Factory would announce their upcoming DVD set of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I was excited. Power Rangers had almost no decent home video releases in North America. Just a year or two previously, I was seriously considering buying a bootleg set and even made a space on a shelf where I planned to put it. I ordered the Shout Factory Time Life Mighty Morphin Through Lost Galaxy DVD set, but then I got worried. Which version of Mighty Morphin would it be? Would the original episodes be lost and fall into obscurity like the original Star Wars trilogy? Once I got my set and started watching through it all, my fears were put to rest. The show in its original form was safely preserved. Ironically, the 32 reversioned episodes would be what fell into obscurity. Forgotten and rare, little more than a curiosity. The Power Rangers Kids official YouTube channel eventually came about and uploaded the first 10 episodes of the Reversion series. This had its own oddities. First, and most noticeable, the theme song was cut from every episode. All I can guess is that it was to avoid copyright detection complications from YouTube's broken system. Another oddity, some episodes had their titles altered. A pressing engagement, for example, was retitled Lifting Challenge. Only in the YouTube title, not in the episode itself. For a long time, only these 10 episodes were the only ones available. Later, the kids' channel merged with the official Power Rangers channel and uploaded all 32 episodes. I think they were on Netflix as well before most of the series' air was arbitrarily removed. One episode of the Reversion series was released on DVD, Day of the Dumpster. It was a promotional giveaway that included a sticker promoting Power Rangers Samurai coming to Nickelodeon. Aside from that lone DVD and toy line, no other merchandise was released for the Reversion series. At the time, it was rare to see acknowledgement of past seasons, even as glorified reruns. It was kinda cool. Unfortunately, I think the Reversion series was foreshadowing of the intense reliance on MMPR, specifically Season 1, the franchise would have going further. I didn't bother doing a plot summary for this episode since there's not a lot I have to say about it. It's a good introduction for the MMPR cast, it sets the tone, it's efficient. Maybe the upcoming episodes I'll have more to say about. So that's it for this one, hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
Teach us how to beat people up.